and welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the only entertainment business news podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there, Constitutionals 286, moving the mic closer to my face so that you can hear my dulcet tones. What's been going on with me? I just got out of a movie. Technically it was about an hour ago. I was meeting with a friend on Zoom. We're talking about the industry. It's true, we were writing. I can't delete this tab so I don't forget. I just saw Godzilla vs. Kong, The New Order. I think that's what it's called. Godzilla versus Kong, The New Empire, excuse me. That's how much I didn't know going into this movie. I knew I was going to see this movie. I thought, B. I knew I was going to see this movie. A. B, I thought it was coming out in May. And then at some point last week, I was watching something on television, and a commercial popped up and said, this movie's coming out. And then my Atom tickets reminded me, hey, this movie's coming out. And I went, okay, I got to go see this movie. I have to go see this movie. So I got my little butt, my cute little toned butt, sat it right on my hard, just tough bicycle seat. Took the belt line down to my favorite movie theater. Saw this movie at 12:45. Walked right in at 12:50. It was late. I mean, I'm glad to. Excuse me, it was 1 o'clock when I walked in. It was 1:01 technically because I got my popcorn. I got popcorn. You can see on the back table over there. I bring it home. I love bringing it home. How to get home on my bike? I brought a freezer bag, and then I stuffed the rest inside my book bag. There you go. You got a thumbs up. Anyway, I love Godzilla versus Kong. I love that. And now this is Godzilla X Kong. It took them too long to get together, but when they do get together, oh boy, that movie turns around. You know, let's just make a movie where it is not, there's no humans. Just give me the young deaf girl, Kaylee Hoddle is her name. I'm on the Wikipedia. Give me her. Give me Kong, give me Godzilla. I don't need anybody else. Because I was rewatching Godzilla vs. Kong, the first one. And the A story is fine. They have to get Kong and Godzilla. That's going to happen. That's fine. And the Monarch and the humans, I'm set with that. The issues I have with Godzilla vs. Kong, and to some extent this movie, are Brian Tyree Henry's character and anybody who surrounds him. It is truly one of the most annoying things to have him exist in these movies. Dan Stevens is in the second one as a new character, and you're just supposed to. There's so much exposition where he dated Rebecca Hall's character. And they were in love in college. And they explain all that in like 2 lines. Anyway, the action was tits. I enjoyed it. I don't know the critical response. I don't give a hoot about any of that. Let's get on with I care about this stuff that's coming up. This comes from The Hollywood Reporter, written by George Zelli. Video game publisher Take-Two Interactive to acquire Borderlands maker Gearbox for $460 million. We're still in consolidation in the gaming industry. And it seems as though it's not slowing down. People are going to get laid off from companies. And we will see mid-sized AAA makers, because Gearbox is AAA. We will see those companies get eaten up by big publishers. Gearbox makes Borderlands. They also make some other things too. Homeworld, Risk of Rain, Brothers in Arms, Duke Nukem. Take-Two, if you don't know, is I believe that's the Grand Theft Auto. Let's see. Leading game publisher is what they have. They also do NBA 2K. So I might be wrong. Yeah, they own Rockstar. Yeah. 2K. Yeah, they own 2K. And Zynga. They own Zynga. Oh my God. I thought that was a Metaprod publisher. I don't know why. Take-Two said it expects the transaction to, quote, deepen its successful relationship with Gearbox Entertainment and to provide increased financial benefits through a fully integrated operational structure, meaning that they'll afford more money to Gearbox themselves. Now, Gearbox was already, Take-Two was already the publisher of the Borderlands franchise, but now this is just saying, hey, we own it. Gearbox currently has 6 key interactive entertainment projects in various stages of development, including 5 sequels, 2 of which are from the Borderlands and Homeworld franchises. I got to tell you, I don't know what Homeworld is. I see it all over the place. I just don't know what it is. Okay, this is not a game that I would enjoy. It's a real-time strategy game. Not to say I don't enjoy those, but I just wouldn't enjoy whatever Homeworld is. Allergies are still there. The deal excludes certain third-party publishing and other assets that Take-Two deemed non-core, which means Gearbox can still publish other games that they don't necessarily own. The franchises are like someone comes and is like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" It's going to be completed around summertime. Companies get bought all the time. This is not anything different, but this is in that it is different in that it's the size of the company. What is the God of War? Is that what it's called? God of War 2. God War 2. I just typed God War 2. All right, so God of War. I'm just going to find the 2018 version of that game. Sony Santa Monica Studio was separate from Sony, right? Well, no, they were playing. They've done. Okay, we'll go at it this way. Sony Santa Monica, which is Santa Monica Studio, they published God of War. Their main arms are they developed God of War. So all from God of War, mainline 1, 2, 3, Ascension, 2018 and 2022. They also helped develop external games, including Twisted Metal Head On, the Twisted Metal series, essentially. Pixel Junk, that series. Fat Princess, if you remember that game. I wanted to play that game so bad. I wanted to play Fat Princess so bad. It just wasn't. It was only on PS3 and PSP. PlayStation Battle Royale. They don't necessarily own those games, just help develop those games and put them out, which means they were extra hands in the kitchen. They were sous chefs. Oh, look at me. I'm a sous chef. This means more money for Gearbox and hopefully a better tightly integrated system for 2K and Gearbox to make games. If anything, Borderlands 4 is going to be one of the biggest games that they ever put out. And Take-Two obviously sees that, and so that's why they wanted to snatch up Gearbox. So we'll see what comes out of those studios in a second. Hey, let's come up on this. This comes from The Wrap. Oh, I have to do this thing. Hold on. This is so embarrassing. Substack writers concerned as subscriptions plummet due to follow feature. Written by Natalie Korak. I'm not doing anything nefarious. I just don't want to subscribe to The Wrap. Substack writers are expressing their concerns about the platform's following feature. What I did was let me break a rule here. The Wrap is only asked for subscriptions. This is a great story, and I will support The Wrap. I'm just not going to give them money. So I have gone around the firewall. And it's not illegal. I've gone around the firewall, and I can read the story. Substack writers are expressing their concerns about the platform's following feature on social media, which some argue is suppressing their subscription growth. So they introduced a new following feature, which is essentially you're subscribing without paying. I mean, just look at anything else on the internet. Look at Twitter, look at YouTube, look at LinkedIn. You're following, you're not paying those people. And right now, you used to be able to, if you were, let's say you were a Substack writer and you had a newsletter and you were charging $5 a month for people to read it. Well, you want people to read it, but also if people just want to get a little test out, then Substack allowed for readers to get free access to a newsletter subscription, but only as much as the newsletter writer wanted to release for that free subscription. But now that anybody has a follow thing, then you can go to Substack.com and follow anybody without having to click on a subscribe button and without any thought of having to pay them money. This comes from a writer who has a Patreon. Her name is Jenna Cadlick. My subscriptions are now slowing, and there is a growing discrepancy between my subscribers versus followers that has made me consider moving to Patreon. Excuse me, she's not on Patreon, but she's on Substack writing that. On Threads writing that, excuse me. For transparency, my very niche newsletter isn't huge, but it makes me $25,000 plus a year. That's way too much money to stay on a platform that is no longer supporting business growth. What good is discoverability if there's no funnel to convert people into paid readers? Is the question my years in marketing brain is churning. Substack added the follow feature on the platform in August 2023, making the platform feel much more like a social network. The feature allows a user to keep up with the writer without having to subscribe. This is just taking money away from the writer's hands. It's just, I say as I went around the firewall of the wrap. But these people get paid to directly talk to their readers. And Substack has had issues in the past couple of, I'd say the past year, in terms of what they're doing with their writers. And now this is just like another nail in the coffin, taking away dollars out of the writers' pockets. There needs to be a way, as what's her name, Jenna Cadlick wrote on Threads. There needs to be a way for people to get a drip of water, but not get the whole cup, the whole glass. They're really doing it, as she writes in the thread, as a way to transition to a social media hub where they can sell ad space. And that's what's most important, because these Substacks, if you've ever been on the website, at least the ones I've seen, it doesn't have, it's not technically, it's just a newsletter. And it's basically your own website. I don't have a Substack, apparently. I'm not going to log in. And you don't have, there's no ads on there. But that's what they want to turn it into. And I don't like that. Okay, let's move on. Now, we've heard a lot about former child stars talking about what's been happening on the ID series. Sorry, I'm scrolling down to see what the ID series is called. Oh, boy. It's in this article because I read this article. What is the ID series called? The Quiet on the Set. I don't have to look it up. So Quiet on the Set came out last week with revelations that child actors in the late 90s and early 2000s who worked with a single producer, Dan Schneider, on Nickelodeon, had been assaulted or bullied, or people who worked on the shows had been bullied or harassed, and just any manner of bothered in a workplace. And this is something that's been happening prior to the release of this show, but a lot of those people had either been talking about it before or they have the means to do so now, or prior then, and they have their own. I'm really messing this up, but what I'm trying to say is that podcasting has been a new viable outlet for child stars to work through their problems or to discuss the shows they've been on. There's a Ned's Declassified podcast. There's a Boy Meets World podcast. The people on Ned's Declassified have 700,000 followers. They talk about their substance abuse. The kid from Ned, the young man from Ned's Declassified, he talks about his time on the set of Rust with Alec Baldwin, and it's just as much as I dislike podcasting for people like Dana Carvey and David Spade and the Smartless guys and Conan O'Brien and how much they take away, again, like Substack did, they take away from the people who have been doing this for years prior to them, as like they do it like as if it's a little game. It's podcasting has been a great avenue for these people to talk about what's been going on in their lives and also to earn some cashish. Christy Carlson Romano started the podcasting network. I think it's just called Pod Talk? Podco. Why do I know this? I read this article once. Podco. Christy Carlson Romano and her husband, Brendan Rooney, started this podcasting network. And it's been doing well for them. You know, they've got a lot of... I'm sorry, the website makes noise, but it's a good website. They've got the Wizards of Waverly pod with two people from that show, Wizards of Waverly Place. Excuse me, I don't know what that show was. Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Christy Carlson Romano has a podcast where she talks to people and they're vulnerable. She talks to people who are her age who worked on child shows and did that. Wow. This is in the it's so interesting. Description for the podcast Vulnerable. It says she sprang into Disney Channel stardom overnight, made millions, and lived happily ever after. That's cool. I mean, well, and then it says spoiler alert. It didn't, obviously, but anyway, there's a show called Big Name Bitches. They have other shows in development. A Full House Rewind podcast with Dave Coulier. I mean, they're just they seem to be doing well, which is good, and the numbers keep growing year over year. The audience for podcasts continues to grow. Written here, with 42% of Americans 12 and older reporting last year that they had listened to one in the previous month, according to a report by Edison Research. One. Podco is only found in the last year, and they're doing great numbers, and it's good. They talk about the trouble that they've been landed in the past, involving the Ned's Declassified things. But what all of this is to say that there's a good reason for people kind of living in that nostalgia and wanting to hear and catch up with what's been going on with their former child stars, the people that they love, the people that they used to watch all the time. And if that comes through if they're able to be vulnerable on the podcast, and if that comes through via having to recap every episode in Ned's Declassified or Even Stevens, then so be it. Let them live and have their lives, and you'll be able to help them, join their Patreons, give them money, and maybe eventually become their friend. All right, this next one comes from Cord Cutters News, written by... Actually, also, did I say who wrote this other one, this New York Times one? The New York Times one was Nickelodeon and Disney Stars Find a Second Act on Podcast, written by Rebecca Carballo. Now, this one, Cord Cutters News, written by Luke Boma. Amazon will soon be the new home of Bally Sports RSN streaming. In January, Diamond Sports, the parent company of Bally Sports, RSNs, announced a deal that would allow it to exit bankruptcy. If you didn't know, last year they were going through trouble, and that's the reason why you couldn't get a lot of local sports on your TV networks. You couldn't get it over the antenna. Oh, actually, I think you could get over the antenna, but you couldn't get it on cable. You couldn't get it on YouTube TV. You couldn't get it on Hulu Live TV. Couldn't get anywhere. In this deal, Amazon will become a minority investor in Diamond Sports, the owner of Bally Sports. This deal will see Amazon become the new home of Bally Sports streaming for direct-to-consumer packages, which means you'll be able to, if you live in a certain region, you'll be able to watch, like here, Braves games, Hawks games that were blacked out because you couldn't watch them. If you live in Texas, you'll be able to watch OKC games and Maverick games, Dallas Maverick games, and New Orleans Pelicans games. Things. It's just Bally has a chokehold on a lot of regions in the East, the West, the North, and the South. Really, just the Southwest, not even the North, Southeast, not even the Northwest. The deal with Amazon will let Americans buy live access. Oh God, I didn't read that part. To MLB, NBA, and NHL games through Amazon's Prime Video channels. This offer is only good for consumers who live inside the markets these teams play with, which means that since I live in Atlanta, I will only be able to access the Braves and the Hawks. So if you live in Texas, you get access to the Spurs, the Mavericks, the Dallas Stars, I think that's what that team is, and the Texans, the Texas Texans. It makes sense, but that's so stupid. According to Bally Sports' website, this deal is pending its final approval. So it's going to be a basically Bally Sports Plus on Amazon channels, and then you'll be able to get the 12 Hawks and Braves games that you're not able to watch. Oh, I hate that. That is so dumb. Diamond Sports, with this deal, has also reached a deal over the Bally Sports naming rights. Per the deal, Bally Sports can continue to use its current name through 2024 MLB season at no cost. After the end of 2024 MLB season, its naming rights deal will end with Bally, ending the partnership to name the RSN Bally's to name the RSN's Bally Sports. That's a poorly written sentence, or else I read it wrong. I'm Luke Boma. I wrote the entire thing. This is it's a give and take. It's great for people who love sports and they want to be able to finally watch them at home uninterrupted, because there's a lot of this blackout stuff or the bad deals with YouTube TV and Hulu with live TV and just regular cable and satellite television. But man, oh man, it just stinks to want to be able to watch something that is quite literally going on 2 miles away from you, and not be able to see it because now it's going to cost $5 or $10 per month. I'd rather just not have access to it. I don't like that. All right, and finally, Hulu with live. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm going on autopilot. This is from Todd Spangler at Variety. Hulu on Disney Plus officially launches, and Disney will go harder with the bundle upsell pitches. If you haven't noticed, Hulu was in beta. Accessing Hulu Access was in beta on Disney Plus. If you had a Disney Plus account, if you had a Hulu account, and they were connected under the same family name in the Disney app, which is something that I had to do multiple times until I finally just said I had to. I called. Anyway, then you'll be able to access Hulu through Disney Plus. I had to call Disney Plus because they were charging me so much money, and I was, and then finally 1 month they were like, all right, it only happened for like 3 months, but finally they were like, okay, we see what the issue is. Why don't you cancel your one of the subscriptions, and then we'll combine, or cancel all your subscriptions, and then we'll combine them under the Disney bundle. I had the Disney bundle, but I had the legacy Disney bundle, which was I had Hulu first. I've had Hulu since it began. I've had Hulu since conception. And so I was paying the $18 per month for Hulu with no ads, and then I was paying the $9 per month for Disney Plus and ESPN Plus with no ads, and then they were charging me. They weren't taking out the $7 from Hulu. They were just keeping the $18. You're supposed to anyway. Now it's all together, and now you can access Hulu on Disney Plus on any device that you have it on. They even changed the logo to a kind of Huluified logo. If you're watching the video, you can see the word beta. There's a tiny little beta tag that used to pop up right there, but now it's not anymore. And Hulu's finally there. There's two things you have to know about this. One of them is confirmed. There is no Hulu with live TV, so you don't get, and you also don't get access to ESPN Plus stuff. No live sports. I'm not entirely sure if you get access to 30 for 30. Let's look. This will be a great learning experience. I don't know if you do 30 for 30. Typed it in. Yeah, you get 30 for 30. So you get everything that's not live essentially. And then a third thing. This is something I've noticed. Not every show, not every movie that is available on Hulu is in 4K or in Dolby Vision, whatever. 4K, I think it says. What is? I don't think they have Dolby Vision, but it's not in 4K. A lot of it is not a lot. It's not everything is in 4K. For instance, I think Shogun, that new show set in feudal Japan, is it Japan? It is indeed in 4K. It'll tell me on the iPad, to the very least. On my phone it says HD, but on the iPad it is indeed in 4K. There are things that I have seen that says, it just says HD on Disney Plus, and I've been Googling it like crazy, been going to the Reddit, been looking and seeing if people have found the same thing, and I've gotten mixed bag answers from what I've seen. So this happened this week. This beta integration is something that eventually I believe, for a fact, I think the Hulu name will stay around, but I think it is just going to be melded into Disney Plus, which sucks. But this is what they've been working on for the past couple of months since they touted the beta. Disney is launching its first marketing campaign for Hulu on Disney Plus, touted as a 360-degree initiative that includes out-of-home placements, custom broadcasts and digital ads, cross-branded social media posts, and bi-coastal, quote-unquote, experimental stunts, including on-site activations at the Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort. I saw a picture of a billboard that was cross-promotional that said, it was Lilo and Stitch and Family Guy, and it said, Ohana means, in the words, it was like, Ohana means, and then under it was a picture of Peter from Family Guy. And I thought, that's great advertising. The new logo for Disney Plus also has tinges of green in it, so it's gone from the blue. Now, this next article I'm going to reference comes from David Pierce at The Verge. The Disney Plus Hulu merger is way more than a streaming bundle, and he called it Disney-fied. Let me read the exact part of the logo. Somebody sent me a reel, and it's somebody I don't talk to often. And a sea of blue apps is what I was looking for. Where almost every streaming app is blue. The Prime Video is blue. Max is blue. This is my phone's not updated, so the Disney Plus logo is still blue. The Paramount Plus logo is blue. Vudu, not Fandango at Home, is blue. The new Disney logo will help stand out. The Disney Plus logo will help stand out. You get to access 100. The thing is, this was a tough thing. It wasn't just like a switch that they could flip and everything would work. Aaron LaBerge told Pierce at The Verge, Quote, we zoomed out and took a very long-term approach. Aaron LaBerge is the president and CTO of Disney Entertainment and ESPN. We're going to be running a streaming service forever. Chris Lawson, the EVP of content operations at the company, estimates that Disney had to move more than 100,000 individual assets from Hulu to Disney Plus in order to make this work. He says, quote, it's a mixture of content that we own and content from our partners. So, I mean, what it does sound like, it is sound like a drag and dropping to files, but, you know, also, yeah, it's still tough stuff. You have to migrate things and make sure everything works properly and make sure things aren't broken. I know a lot of people are complaining about the Hulu watch history, being continued. So let's go back to Family Guy. If you have Family Guy, if you're in the middle of watching Family Guy, the current season, and you go on Disney Plus and you're like, I'm not going to use Hulu ever again. It just seems like you haven't watched Family Guy at all. But I don't think that really should matter. You know what you've watched. You can go, hey, I've seen this episode. Hulu is 16 years old. My God. And I've been using it for all 16 years. That's crazy. Give me something. Disney had to re-encode all the Hulu video files to work on Disney Plus, which it could have done in a relatively straightforward way, but instead the company decided to use this opportunity to roll out a single content library system for everything, everywhere. That's still in progress, LaBerge says, saying, quote, that in and of itself has been a bit of a massive lift, but when it's all said and done, we will have one master media library for the entire company that has the same consistent metadata formats, description of content, and playback encoding that is the highest quality it can be for the entire Walt Disney Company. And that's good. That's good for us in the end, because if they do decide to just go, hey, Hulu's done, then they can get rid of that and then say Disney Plus is the home for everything, and which is going to happen. It's going to happen. And it's not all video files. It's artwork as well. The metadata. Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is just pointing towards a future where we have where when they decide, hey, we're right behind Netflix, let's take them on fully by getting rid of Hulu and making Disney Plus the main thing. I still think they should have kept it separate. The only thing I'm using Disney Plus completely for is, besides I've gotten into Star Wars Rebels. I do like that show. But the only thing that I use Disney Plus for is watching The Simpsons, is watching that. And then, I'll watch the Taylor Swift movie. But at no point am I going to be like, well, it's time to stop watching Hulu, because Hulu still has the sports stuff. Hulu still has ESPN Plus, and I swear on my life, there are still some things on my list that I cannot get on Disney Plus for some reason. I think it's only like one or two things. But this is good for the people who don't want who are like, I'm only using Hulu to watch Shogun and Futurama, and now they can go, oh, okay, Futurama and Shogun are on Disney Plus, and I just want to get rid of the app. And I just want to have one less app. I don't know if you're one of those stupid people. But again, this type of consolidation is what we saw before with cable stuff. And eventually they're going to consolidate. They're going to break things up. They're going to consolidate, break things up. And it's just going to get annoying for the consumer. All right. Hey, listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where I've got interviews with your favorite people. I was supposed to put out an interview this week. I deliberately, as I told your PR people, I said this week it's happening, and it did not. So maybe next week. They sent me an email, when's this happening? I was like, hey, it'll be Wednesday. And then Wednesday was just dead. I was just dead. Maybe tonight, who knows? But you can head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to those people. You can also see that's the catch-all. That's where everything is. You can go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy to watch a video version of this show, as well as the other podcasts that also come in audio form. So subscribe to those wherever you get your podcasts. Late Night Lately, the late night show. I haven't decided if I'm taking another week off from that because I have not found an idea for a topic. And the other show is LinkedIn Logs, which is the job podcast where I talk about job stuff, in the business world, the traditional business world, not the entertainment business industry world. But subscribe to those wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, @C+Comedy. You can also watch the interviews, which is the video version of the interviews that I do. I come up with such great titles. I'm so good at coming up with titles. That's why the Constitutionals is still the Constitutionals, because it's the best title in the world. All right, I'll go. Bye.